And welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day two of How to Love Yourself in 5 Days. We are Steve and Odille Remmert, and we're glad everybody's joining back in. Um, so today, I think we'll lead off with questions that we've received via the comments and also some email questions. So, Odile, if you're good with that, we're gonna start with that. Couple,
Absolutely.
yeah, a couple of questions that we kind of actually addressed a little bit yesterday in the seminar, but I just wanted to bring these back up. I These are a couple that I know that are probably the most frequently dealt with or asked questions, when I'm working with clients when they're engaging kind of the first time for this beginner's exercise. There's a sense of, first of all, just a basic question of how often should I be doing this? And then the other couple of issues are a sense that I don't know if I'm really feeling this. I'm not sure that I
Mhm.
can actually feel this feeling that we're trying to get into. So kind of a not sure about the feeling of this. And then there are also issues around I can't see, so we're talking about, imagine the color. Imagine a color that imagine this subject, whether it's a person, place, thing, object, whatever it is. I can't I can't
Mhm.
necessarily see it. So I know that
Okay.
we got three things there, but could you
Yep.
address those, please?
Absolutely. So the first one, I think you asked with how often should I be doing this?
Yeah, frequency.
The answer to that is as much as you can. So bearing in mind that every time you do it, you are physically connecting neurons in your brain and which are producing chemicals. And the more you do it, the more established those neural connections become. The more you can do it, the faster you'll start seeing results. So it's like anything. It's how much should I practice the violin or whatever, as much as you can. And with this, of course, it takes so little time. It's only 60 to 90 seconds. And so you can fit it in as much as you like. So at least 3 times a day, but that's really bare minimum. The more you do it, the better the results will be.
Yeah.
Because also, the more time you're able to spend in a state of feeling good, the more your life will improve in general. Because you'll have the cognitive thinking part of your brain online, your prefrontal cortex, more of the time, which will improve your decision making and your judgment, your problem solving skills, your strategizing, and so much else. Does that answer that question?
Yep, absolutely. And just a note, if people are I'm just inviting people to use the comment section. If they got
Yes,
questions, comments as we're going through this, please pop that in
absolutely.
the comment section. And if you're watching this on replay, do the same thing because we are following the comment section and we'll answer those questions as they come in. So just a reminder then, what if I
The
can't
second
feel?
one,
Yeah,
I
what
can't
if I
feel it.
can't
That's right.
feel
Yes.
that feeling?
Yes.
Hmm.
So again, that's practice. So the more you do it, the more you'll be able to feel it. So if you can't feel like, so you're trying it and you can't feel it, do it anyway, and then stop and do it again. And one of the things you can do is go into the details of why you love the thing that you love. So if it's a pet or a person, have they ever done anything funny? Or what is it? So the more you can focus on the details of the reasons you love the thing, the more you're firing neural networks that are going to start producing um, more of those feel good chemicals. And also remembering that when we feel something, that's the result of the chemicals. So the chemicals are having an impact on our organs and our blood vessels, which are causing the sensations that we recognize as an emotion.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if you're not feeling it, it just means that there's not enough of, the level of those feel good chemicals isn't high enough yet. So like in yesterday's session, I gave the analogy of the bath water. So the more you do it, even when you can't feel it, just keep doing it, and eventually you will start to feel it.
Hmm. Yeah,
And what was the
and
third question? I can't
the
remember.
the third, yeah, if we oftentimes in the exercise, we're talking about imagine,
Oh, the
seeing.
seeing, yes.
Yeah, yeah. What if
Yes,
I
and I
can't?
think
What if
I
I can't
did
see?
address this yesterday
Hmm.
as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Excuse me. And the answer is um, do it, go with however you know things. So someone isn't necessarily visual, but they know something. How do you know it? So some people will see it and other people will just know it, and just knowing it is okay. So, for example, where we say, think of your favorite color. You don't have to see it. It's how do you know what it is? And then imagine being surrounded by that color. You don't have to see yourself being surrounded by or see that color surrounding you. Just know, if you were surrounded by that color, how would you know? It's that kind of
Hmm.
using however your brain works.
Yeah. And
So
I
that
also
was.
know, yeah, and I also know in having worked with people that oftentimes, if they're struggling with the imagination part, and I know that we'll talk a little bit more about the unconscious references a little bit more later in the week, but sometimes the issue that is at play is that perhaps as children we were
Mhm,
uh, in a position where we were either um, that imagination part of us got trained
mhm.
out of us. That it
Yeah,
wasn't safe to be somebody who daydreamed or was uh, living in a place of imagination. So knowing that re-engaging with our imagination can take a little bit of time. It's not that we don't have an imagination or that we
right.
can't,
Yeah,
that we don't have that ability. It's just been kind of trained out of us.
exactly. Yes.
So I know that we also have a couple of other questions.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just going to go ahead and read one here.
Yeah.
So this was in response to doing the exercise yesterday. I that they were using their grandson. I used my beautiful grandson and started crying. He is alive and well, and I love him so much. This happened both times. Do I need to pick something else?
Okay, very good. So thank you. And what was the name of that person? I've forgotten.
Uh,
I know you've got it in front of you.
Zelamic at
Zalem.
Zelamic.
So thank you so much for leaving that comment. We appreciate it. And I did answer the comment under your comment. I did reply to your comment there, but I also wanted to answer it in this video as well, for others. So it depends on what you're feeling when you're crying. So it can happen. We get emotional when we think of certain people, or pets or things. Um, and if it's a good feeling, so if the tears are from feeling so overwhelmed by the love, or so in awe of the person or how much you love them, that's fantastic. Keep that. I think you said it was was it
Grandson.
grandson.
Hmm.
Keep your grandson as your subject, and the tears will eventually you will eventually subside, and you'll be able to do it without the tears. But as long as those feelings are good. If, on the other hand, the tears are the emotions there are negative, so if it's longing or missing or sadness in any way, then change the subject to change the subject. I'll just come up. Then yeah, use a different subject, so that it's all good feelings. So hopefully that helps. But of course, let us know if you need more clarification on that or more help. And the next
Great.
one I think was an email one, wasn't it,
Right.
Steve?
Yeah. Yeah. The next question came from an email. Said, I have always I've always said I love myself, but I hate my life.
Mm. Okay. Yes. So, they asked for my opinion on that. So,
Hmm.
the answer to that is when you say, I've always said I love myself and I hate my life. You're using your conscious mind there. So, I love myself consciously. You decided you love yourself. But that doesn't mean that the unconscious part of your brain is on board with that. When you say you hate your life, whatever you're experiencing in your life has been determined by the unconscious part of your brain, not your conscious mind. So we make conscious decisions and so on, but most of our decisions and judgment and everything is coming from the unconscious part of the brain. So the difference there between consciously loving yourself and what your unconscious references are, that's determining what you're experiencing in your life and how you feel about it. So from tomorrow, the third day three, we're going to be going into the unconscious part of the unconscious references. However, today's session, I feel, is going to be particularly relevant to your question, to the question you've asked. So thank you for sending that in. So we attract and create our life experiences. So the life you hate at the moment, we do that, and depending on whether a person believes in the law of attraction and energy and all that, but even if you don't, even leaving that out and taking purely physical consideration, our automatic choices, our perception, and all of that is determined by the unconscious part of the brain. So yesterday you learned the beginner's exercise, and hopefully you've all been able to practice it since then. And a reminder, of course, if you'd like to download the MP3 audio guide of that to your device so you can practice it on demand, the link is in the description of this video. And so now, today, it's time to expand that exercise to the self-love level. And as I say to the person who sent the email, this is going to help you as well. So there are two parts to this level. There's number one is a power phrase. And number two is we're going to expand the beginner's exercise in a sneaky way that makes it easier to love yourself. So the first part, the power phrase is the conscious mind. The expanding the beginner's exercise will be the biological side of it. And then tomorrow, of course, we'll be going into the unconscious references. So starting with the power phrase, a little bit of background behind it. The truth is, and are you ready for this? The truth is, we don't have to learn to love ourselves. We don't have to learn to love ourselves because we already do. We're born with love for ourselves, but it's conditioned out of us. So babies are born with love for themselves. And then we're taught as we experience life, even if we're not actively taught this, we learn it through the experiences from babyhood onwards. We're taught to put others first. We're taught not to show off. Don't get too big for your boots. Don't brag. So even without a bad childhood, even a good childhood can teach us to not love ourselves, or to cover the love, to suppress the love we naturally have for ourselves. Even just a really good childhood where we're just taught to put other people first and be kind to others. And there's nothing wrong with being kind to others. It depends on the messaging and what else we're learning. But so we learn to. The other thing is that self-love is confused with conceit and arrogance. And so we learn to suppress our love for ourselves, and we become programmed with self-deprecation, self-criticism, and judgment. And we also learn to criticize and judge ourselves the way others criticize and judge us when we're growing up, and what we witness. So watching our parents, so even if it's nothing to do with us, we're not involved personally, watching our parents judge and criticize themselves or each other or other people. So all of this is unconscious conditioning. And in addition to that, many of us, including myself, learn that when we are harder on ourselves than others are, we get more approval. Or at the very least, others don't judge us as harshly if we do it to ourselves first. So sometimes it can be a preemptive reaction or behavior. And so the love we naturally have for ourselves is blocked out. So part of the process that's needed is it's not so much learning to love yourself, but allowing that love to come through again and feeling safe to love yourself.
Hmm.
So, and when I say feeling safe to love yourself, I don't mean consciously, because yes, consciously, some people do, some people don't, but it's about your brain and body learning that it's safe to love yourself. And what I discovered a long time ago is that instead of trying to love myself, what I needed to do was recognize that I already do. And so I started deliberately looking around me for evidence of the love that I have for myself. So, since we create and attract everything in our lives, as I've explained, and that's even on just a purely physiological level before we even start looking at the law of attraction and energy and vibration, all of that. So, purely on a biological level. Um, so, and since we do that, every good thing that we have in our lives is an expression of love from ourselves to ourselves. And when we start looking at it that way, it starts to open the possibilities and take down the guard a little bit. So, one of the key things I'd love you to do is to consider positive versus negative in your life. And the fact that we are programmed for, or we're designed for survival, means that the brain automatically focuses on the negative. That's a natural, normal thing, and it's for survival, because it's much more important to focus on the bear that's going to attack us than on the pretty flowers. So the brain tends to filter out anything, or not anything, not everything, but it tends to filter out the good stuff and focus in on what's not right, what we wish we had, what we don't have, what's wrong. And that, again, that's unconscious and it's for survival and it's automatic. So, in order to balance it a little bit more, we need to make a conscious effort to be aware of the good stuff. Sorry, Steve, did you want to get a word? And I'm aware I've just
No,
gone.
no, you're doing great.
I keep
The
going.
Yeah, the only thing that is sort of resonating here as you're talking is thinking about the kind of that famous study on gratitude that is
Yes.
out there. That the I think it was through the University of Pennsylvania, but it was not important. But the study was getting people to come up with being grateful for five things during their day, so that
Mhm. Yeah.
journaling that and recording that. So it sounds like there's a similarity here between
The
those.
similarity and the difference is that being grateful is a great thing. It's good to be grateful, and
Mhm,
certainly that
mhm,
has a
mhm.
powerful positive effect on the brain and body. It's very healthy. So that's great. But being grateful. So in fact, let's do this for well. Let me before I go into
Right.
that. Let me just explain what I mean about the good things in our lives, and then I want to come back to this because this is a great point. So, what I'm talking about is things like I have electricity, I have food. Now, I
Mhm.
know one of the things you pointed out this morning was how do I, how is how is it a gift to myself to have electricity? Why is that, something? And the reason is because where I am right now is the result of choices I made, decisions I made. So regardless of where I started out, where I am in this moment is the result of choices and decisions I made. Now, and things aren't always within my control, but we still make choices and decisions in every moment. So whatever choices and decisions I've made unconsciously have led me to where I am now. And wherever I am now, no matter what I'm not happy with, there are still things that are good. I have electricity because of the choices and decisions I've made that have ended up in me living in this position. There are people who don't have electricity. There are people who are on the street. There are people who are homeless. There are people who are living in circumstances that are, not safe, and those kinds of things. And that unconscious decisions and responses to circumstances and other people have led each person to where we are in this moment. So, what I'd like you to consider is that wherever you are now, whatever's wrong and whatever you wish was different for you, that you'll be noticing automatically, because that's your brain automatically focusing on the so-called danger. What I would like you to try is switching to start noticing the good stuff, just as an experiment and an observation. So things like, I have electricity, I have food, I have a roof over my head. It may not be mine, but I have a roof over my head. And what else do I have that is good? And it does not negate the bad stuff. I'm not saying this is, therefore you should be grateful and put up with the bad stuff. This is just to balance your perception a little bit. And what you can do is make a list. So if you're not sure about it, you can make a list and be honest with yourself and make a list of every single detail, every single thing in your life in detail. I mean, you don't have to describe it in detail, but make sure that the list is comprehensive of all of the things in your life that are good. And then once you've done that, then make a list of all the things that are not good, that you wish were different. And just notice the difference in length of those lists. And again, the purpose of this is not that you should be grateful for what you have and that you don't deserve more. It's again just to open your perception a bit. And I'm getting to the power phrase part of this. So the power phrase is, look how much I love myself. So I did this, as I say, years ago. I would, I'd think of, I've got electricity. Look how much I love myself. And the idea behind that is, I must love myself at least a little bit to have allowed myself to end up in a position where I've got electricity, food, clothes, whatever I do have, a computer, the internet. And again, the purpose of this is to start opening up your perception from survival to a little bit more empowered. And Steve, what I want to say about the difference between gratitude and this exercise of look how much I love myself, in other words, the evidence that I already do love myself, at least to a certain extent, is that for gratitude, so if you want to try this, if you think about being grateful for something, so whatever you have, let's say electricity, I'm grateful that I have electricity. I'm grateful for that. And feel that feeling of being grateful for it. So you're being grateful to something or someone outside of yourself. And then try the perception of, look how much I love myself, that I've got myself to this position where at least I have electricity. And notice the difference in those two those two states, those two emotional states. In one case, you're grateful to something or someone outside of you. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a really good thing. But the other one is empowerment. Look how much I love myself. And it's good to have both. So using that phrase, test it, experiment with it, And I mean, I was doing it with traffic lights and, the sunshine and a smile from a stranger. And it doesn't matter if you really believe that you created those things. Test it anyway. Look how much I love myself, that I've allowed myself to notice the sunshine or whatever. So,
No,
so that's that part of it. Yeah.
no,
Did you?
I was just gonna gonna ask a little bit more about, the range, and you started to talk about some of the other ways that you were noticing, and they can be very um, what may seem mundane, or you might even overlook. The
Yes, definitely
um,
overlook it. Yeah.
you know sunshine, green lights, a parking space, a cup of
Coffee.
coffee, yeah,
Yeah.
a smile on a stranger's face. I think all of those kind of things, it's like all of these things that if we're walking around focusing on the negative, we just completely uh
Yes.
it's not even on the radar. They're
Yes.
not even, we're not aware of that.
Right, because of survival. So
Hmm.
it's very important to bear that in mind. It's not because there is more negative than positive. It's because the brain is hyper focused on the negative for survival. So it's not it's not our fault that we do that. That is a survival mechanism. It's
Right.
automatic. So we have to really consciously make the effort to notice the positive, not because there isn't enough positive, but just because it's not dangerous. So we don't automatically pay attention to it. So thanks for that.
Go
So
ahead.
so now I want to get to the exercise. So we're going to do the expansion of the beginner's exercise. So if you haven't done the beginner's exercise from yesterday, do practice that, um, and or pause this video, go and watch the other one to get the exercise. All right, and so I'm going to take you through the beginner's exercise and then into the expansion part of it, the self-love expansion part of it, and then I'll come back and explain what that expansion is and why we're doing it. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and start by thinking of your favorite color and imagine being surrounded by that beautiful color. And notice the feeling of that color, what you love about it. Allow yourself to fully focus on it. Very good. And now think about your subject, that person, animal, place, or activity you love. And imagine holding that person, place, activity, or animal in your arms in a hug. And notice the feeling, the physical feeling in your body that you feel as you think of that. So, where you feel that love, usually chest or solar plexus. Now imagine that love as a ball of light or energy. And imagine it spreading down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that love, that light, that energy. Very good. And now think about the cells in your body. There are approximately 50 trillion cells in your body, and each cell has a consciousness, and each cell is working to the best of its ability to serve the whole, which is you, of course. So each of those 50 trillion cells is working to serve you, doing its best, which is all it knows how to do. And now imagine filling each of those cells, so all the cells of your body, imagine filling those cells specifically with that love, that light, that energy. Love each cell just for existing. Good job. And now imagine pulling your focus back a little bit, like a camera pulling out to a wider shot. And if you're not visual, just think of how you know it. So imagine it in whatever way you can. So you're seeing a wider shot, and imagine seeing your whole body now, because all the cells are filled with that light, that energy, that love, loving each cell just for existing. And now your whole body is filled with that love just for existing. Good job. And you can open your eyes. So hopefully that you felt something there. Do let us know in the comments or the chat how that went for you. And of course, if you have any questions. So now I want to explain a little bit about why we do that. So the reason for this expansion is that it's easier to love a cell than it is to love our whole selves, very often for many of us. So, starting by loving the cells of your body that make up you helps to open that door a little bit to starting to love yourself. Again, just like the beginner's exercise, this is a start. It's a foundation, and it takes practice and repetition to build the intensity of it and for it to become more effective. So just like with the beginner's exercise, practice it as much as you can. If you've got the MP3 for the beginner's exercise, if you've downloaded that, you can use that. And of course, when it gets to the end, then just go into this bit, the cells. I don't have an MP3 ready for that at the moment, but keep practicing it and remind yourself that what you're doing in every single moment that you're doing this exercise, just like with the beginner's exercise, it's neurons connecting. With every single thought you're having, that's neurons connecting, which are triggering matching chemicals. So again, the more you do it, the more you're filling your brain and body with those feel-good chemicals, endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, that are having a physical impact on your brain and body. So this is not airy-fairy, intangible stuff. And then tomorrow, we're going to level up even more with the real power of the roots, of changing the roots of our self-image, which is the missing piece to authentic, safe self-love. Steve, I know you're trying to get a word in. Sorry, I get on
You
tangent.
do. No, and I think that really you've hit, the point that I was thinking earlier, that what we're doing here with this and why this particular methodology is a little bit different than other methodologies is that, we're taking this approach of it being more of this neuro neurochemical neural pathway approach, this physiological approach to
Mhm.
self-love. And
Yes.
and in that, in all of the different modalities that I was trained in, this is what is unique about this particular modality. In that it's accessible for everybody. We're just learning how to access this incredibly powerful machine that is running everything. And it's been running on autopilot or running in the background, and it's been impacting and uh, in charge of everything in the background. It's now that by doing some of these exercises, we are stepping into the the place of being able to start to control that. We're taking control of that machinery a little bit more. So that point of practice, that point of we need to we need to physically be firing these neural pathways so that we're building the strength of that neural pathway. It and like you said, it's no different than learning any other skill, learning a musical instrument, learning any other uh, learning any other skill that takes repeatability. And the
Mhm.
more we're repeating that, the more automatic, the more strength to that particular neural pathway, that muscle memory, however you want to say it. And that's the power. So that we are we are rewiring, rebuilding what's happening, what's playing automatically in the background.
Right. Exactly. Thank you, Steve. And so hopefully that was helpful for everybody. And of course, please let us know your questions if you need clarification on anything. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for the next level. And so tomorrow we will be going into the unconscious references and how your brain is referring to those references as evidence that proves that you don't love yourself. And then of course we'll go into the next 2 days. We'll go into how to find those references and then how to change them. So I think that's it for today. And so I've got to remember again the order in which to, oh yes, we close Zoom first, I think, and then YouTube. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again to those of you who are leaving comments. We so appreciate them. And do share these as well with anybody you feel might be that it might be helpful for them.